I've been praying for you for a long time now, and I'm so delighted to be here with you this evening. And I would like to ask you a question, just something you might want to think about. What is the most beautiful thing in your life right now? What is the thing that is captivating your heart and just making you ache for something more? For me, lately, it's been the World Cup. I have to be really honest, okay? Any World Cup fans here? Any World Cup fans? Okay. Do you guys know who won today? Should I tell you who won? Do you want to know? Germany won and Brazil won today, okay? So Brazil has already won the World Cup 5 times. And wouldn't it be incredible to win a 6th World Cup in your home country? I mean, people, they love that sport, do they not? They love it. And it's also called, in the United States, we call that game soccer. But the rest of the world calls it what? Football. But there's another game that sometimes people call it. Do you know what it is? It's called the beautiful game. Interesting. Very beautiful. And I'm a volleyball player, to tell you the truth, okay? I'm a volleyball player through and through. So the whole soccer thing, I kind of get, yeah. I kind of get the whole netball thing, I get that. But you know what I love? I love excellence. And the whole world right now is transfixed watching these men kick a ball around. We're just transfixed by it because we're transfixed by excellence, because excellence is revealed in beauty. And don't we love beauty? And I was reading an article last year by an Archbishop Chaput, who's the Archbishop of Philadelphia. And the title of the article was called The Evidential Power of Beauty. I was like, that's interesting, because would we not agree we all long for beauty? It kind of disarms us, we love it. And he tells the story of how beauty is so powerful, and he says, my friend first met God like this. She was about 5 years old. And one June night, a cloudless, moonless night, her dad took her out into the backyard. And he brought her out to the backyard, and he told her to look up at the sky. And he said from one end of the sky, from one horizon to the next, was nothing but stars, thousands of them. And in that night, he knelt down with his little girl and he said, God made the world beautiful because he loves us. And he said, my friend grew up and she learned about physics and she learned about colliding galaxies, but when she looks up at the sky at night, she hears her father's voice saying, God made the world beautiful because he loves us. See, God is very beautiful. And his creation exhibits that beauty. His creation just in nature. And maybe as a little kid you did that. You camped out in a tent, okay? And you wake up at night and you look outside. And I remember being a little kid and my parents, I don't know why they did this, they let us climb on the roof, okay? So we got on the roof of our house in sleeping bags, which is like the whole angle thing, could have been a bad thing. So we're laying in sleeping bags and I just remember looking at the stars at night. And this is actually a real picture. This is the galaxy we live under, which is the Milky Way galaxy, over Mount Rainier near Seattle, Washington. The picture hasn't been photoshopped. And I was just thinking about that. There's something about authentic beauty that brings us out of ourselves. And I found this video on the internet that I want to show you. And I edited it just to 2 minutes. And what this guy did is he took his video camera and he left it outside in South Dakota. So South Dakota has no mountains, it's very, very flat, and you can see from one horizon to the other, and he just let the video roll. And then he time-lapsed it. So what you're about to see is a collection of the night sky. It has not been photoshopped, it has not been edited. It's just 2 minutes long, and I want you to notice 2 things. Number one, I want you to notice just the sheer number of stars in the sky. But secondly, I want you to notice the colors. The colors of the night sky are absolutely incredible. So can you show that video, please? That's God's creation right there. And so, we can look at creation sometimes I think very easily and say that's very beautiful. But then as David and Chris have already spoken so wonderfully this evening, we look at ourselves and we say, oh, that's not so beautiful. And can you pull up the picture of the face of Jesus? You might recognize this picture. It was painted by a young woman now. And she's in her early 20s now, but she was 8 years old when she painted this painting. She's a child prodigy. And when she was 4 years old, she began having visions of heaven. And that's a problem because her parents were atheists. They had no TV in the house, no radio. They raised their child on purpose with no faith. At 4 years old, she began to have visions of heaven. And she would ask her mom for painting supplies. So finally, her mom relented and just gave her supplies. And at 8 years old, she paints this man. And she said she painted the dark side of his face as Jesus Christ. She said she knew it was Jesus. She painted the dark side of his face representing his suffering and the light part of his face representing his resurrection. And she calls the painting Prince of Peace. The original painting is about this tall, about 5 feet tall, 8 years old. She's having visions of heaven. So we see how God creates an ascending order, and it's amazing how her name is Akiana. She says this. She has a really incredible paintings. This particular one I love for obvious reasons. If you've read the book Heaven is for Real, you might know that as that little boy, it's a true story about a little boy who died, who was clinically dead for some time and came back to life and visited heaven and told the story. When he was very little, his dad put pictures of Jesus on the table, and as soon as he saw that particular picture, the boy said, that's him, that's the man I saw. So I'm not saying that's what Jesus looks like. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Interesting to think of, You know what Akiana says? She says there's colors in heaven that don't exist on earth. And I see myself, sometimes I get stuck in my own little world and all my brokenness, and there's so much more beauty out there, so much more that doesn't exist here. And all we have here on earth, this beauty that God gives us, is a taste of heaven. That's why we love beauty. And in my life, I've lived so much brokenness. I struggled for many years with an addiction to alcohol and to lust and depression. And on the outside, it looked like I had everything together. I was playing Division I college volleyball, and I wanted to work at ESPN. And I thought that if I just got this looking perfect enough, you wouldn't see what I felt was so ugly inside. It was so ugly. And I said, how could God love a girl like this? It's amazing what God does. He takes all of our brokenness and all of our littleness, all that we find so ugly, and he makes it beautiful. Because God is very beautiful. The end of the story is that what's most beautiful is really not found in nature. It's found in the human person. It's found in you and it's found in me. Because we're made in the image and likeness of God. And that is a very glorious thing because God is very beautiful.